Here's what happens when you try to track Singapore Google rankings with a standard tool. You set up SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever tracking tool you use. You tell it to track your rankings in Singapore. It checks, it pulls results, and then Google blocks it. Why? Because standard rank tracking tools use data center IPs and Google immediately identifies them as bots. Google's SERP is protected with heavy bot detection, but if you're targeting local Singapore results, there's another problem, and it's more subtle. Singapore Google results are fundamentally different from global Google results. Google.com shows one thing, Google.com.sg shows another. Let me break down why Singapore rank tracking is harder and why mobile proxies are the solution. First, let's talk about the differences in Singapore results. When someone in Singapore searches, they don't get global Google results, they get localized results. The local pack shows Singapore businesses. The organic results emphasize Singapore content and Singapore sellers. Rich snippets are optimized for Singapore. If your business is a Singapore plumber, you need to know your ranking in the Singapore local pack, not your global ranking. Those are completely different. Standard tracking tools don't handle this well. They'll report your global ranking, but that's not what matters for a Singapore business. Second, Google is very protective of the SERP. The search engine results page is the most valuable real estate in marketing. Google doesn't want bots scraping it, so Google has detection systems specifically designed to identify and block SERP scrapers. Data center IPs are the easiest to detect and block. Google sees a request from a data center IP, doing a lot of searches very quickly, and it blocks it immediately. Residential IPs are harder to detect but still possible. Sophisticated residential proxy networks show patterns. Too many searches from the same subnet in a short period. Same user agent across all requests. Identical query patterns. Mobile IPs are the hardest to detect because real people primarily search from mobile. Google expects mobile searches. Mobile IPs are realistic. So here's where it falls apart with standard tools. SEMrush, Ahrefs, they have their own proxy infrastructure or they buy proxies. Most of them use data center proxies because they are cheap at scale. A data center proxy doing 100 searches per day is instantly detected by Google. The tool stops working. You get no results. Some tools have switched to residential proxies. That helps, but it's still not ideal. Residential networks still show patterns. What you need is a mobile proxy setup that looks like individual humans searching individually, not like a coordinated bot tracking keywords. Here's the configuration for proper Singapore rank tracking. 1. Use google.com.sg, not google.com. You want the Singapore localized results, not global results. Google.com shows different results from google.com.sg for Singapore targeted searches. 2. Set the GL equals SG parameter. This explicitly tells Google to show Singapore results. 3. Use a realistic mobile user agent, not a generic bot user agent. Actual Chrome mobile user agent from an actual Android phone. 4. Add delays between queries. Real humans don't search 100 times per minute. They search, they read results, they search again. Put 5 to 15 second delays between queries. 5. Keep sessions small. Do 10 to 20 queries per session. Then stop. Then later, use a different IP and do another 10 to 20 queries. Why the session limits? Because Google tracks patterns per session. If one IP does 100 searches in 1 hour, Google knows it's a bot. If one IP does 15 searches over 30 minutes with natural delays, Google thinks it's a human who did some searches. 6. Rotate IPs between sessions, not during sessions. New session, new IP, same session, same IP. This mimics how real phones work. One person uses their phone for a while, then puts it down. Later, they use it again. It's a different session, could be different location, possibly different IP. For IP pool sizing, if you're tracking 100 keywords, you need at least 10 to 15 Singapore mobile IPs. You're distributing 10 keywords per IP per day. That looks like natural search volume. If you try to track 100 keywords on one IP, Google detects the pattern immediately and blocks it. If you're tracking 500 keywords, you need 50 to 100 IPs. This sounds expensive, but it's cheaper than losing access to Google rank tracking entirely. The session management strategy: create a schedule. Let's say you track 5 keywords per IP per session, twice per day. Time 1 at 10 a.m. IP1 does keyword 1 through 5, IP2 does keyword 6 to 10, IP3 does keyword 11 through 15, and so on. Each IP pulls 10 keywords with natural delays. The whole process takes 30 minutes. Then you wait. Time 2 at 8 p.m. same process with different IPs. Or you can reuse the morning IPs if you space them far apart. Spacing is important. Don't query the same IP twice in the same day if possible. If you do, space the sessions by at least 6 hours. This distribution prevents Google from detecting patterns across your entire tracking operation. One more thing, handle blocks gracefully. Despite your best efforts, you might still get temporarily blocked. Google might rate limit a particular IP. If an IP gets blocked, pause that IP for 24 hours. Try again later. Don't retry aggressively. Aggressive retries trigger permanent blocks. Have fallback IPs. If your primary IP gets blocked, switch to a backup IP. Keep your tracking running. This is why having a pool of 10 to 100 Singapore mobile IPs is important. One IP gets blocked, you have backups. Real honest note, some platforms claim to offer Singapore rank tracking. Check their infrastructure. If they're not explicitly using mobile proxies, they're probably using data center or residential. Those will either get blocked or give you inaccurate results. If you're serious about local Singapore SEO, you need to either build your own tracking with mobile proxies or use a tool that explicitly uses mobile proxies. Standard mass market rank tracking tools are not optimized for local tracking with mobile proxies. They're optimized for scale, not accuracy. This is the setup for proper Singapore SERP tracking. It's more work than standard tracking, but it actually works without getting blocked.